We know that these seats carry so much more than a person. This one would have been a dream come true. And this would have ended with I do. This one here would have been the first time Zoe's little fingers wrapped around Grandma's, never to let go. Life has been delayed long enough. That's why we've taken every possible safety precaution to be ready, so that when you're ready, we can get you where you need to be.
But when you're streaming multiple guests, a lot of people don't know how to set it up. So today, I'm going to show you how to set up your Zoom live streams, and most importantly, how to add your audio. And we're going to take care of that first, because on Mac, you have to add a couple of things. So let's jump into what you have to do on your Mac in order to live stream with a Zoom guest. Now, to add our guest audio, we're going to have to take a little bit of a detour here. The reason why is because I use a Mac, and unlike a PC where you can add multiple audio inputs, a Mac doesn't give you that option.
You might say, Mum's magic car. We say digital innovation. But does it matter what we call it? You make a golf, the golf. So share, swipe, sing. And right now, enjoy 3 months on us with 3.6% APR representative. The all-new, all-digital Golf 8.
Today, I'm going to show you how to stream multiple guests on your live stream using Zoom and OBS. And most importantly, I'm going to show you how to do it on Mac and PC, because there are some differences in how you have to add the audio. So let's get to it. If you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss a new video. One of the main things that people want to do when they're live streaming is add a guest, because you can do an interview or you can just interact and have a fun hangout with a bunch of other people. And there are a lot of different ways to do it, but I notice a lot of people like to use Zoom. Because Zoom has a really high quality of video, it makes it nice to use. But when you're streaming multiple guests, a lot of people don't know how to set it up. So today, I'm going to show you how to set up your Zoom live streams, and most importantly, how to add your audio. And we're going to take care of that first, because on Mac, you have to add a couple of things. So let's jump into what you have to do on your Mac in order to live stream with a Zoom guest. Now, to add our guest audio, we're going to have to take a little bit of a detour here. The reason why is because I use a Mac, and unlike a PC where you can add multiple audio inputs, a Mac doesn't give you that option. So what we're going to do is a little bit of a workaround. We're going to add a plugin called the iShowU audio capture device. It's pretty simple. I'll leave the link in the description so you can download this little bugger. And you can see that this has different versions depending upon what Mac OS you're using. But you want to download it, and right here it actually walks you through exactly how to set it up, so I don't need to do it here. The link is in the description. You're going to need this particular plugin in order to get your OBS to work. Once you have this plugin installed, the next thing we're going to have to do is set it up in our audio sources. And I'll leave a link in the description to this web page as well, which walks you through how to set this up. But essentially what this setup does is it combines multiple audio inputs into one. So if you have multiple guests or something like that, they're all going to be through one input. Unfortunately, this is really the only way to do it. So this calls it set up an aggregate device. You can see when I set this up on mine, I called it multi-output device. But the link in the description to this webpage is going to walk you through exactly how to set up your aggregate device that's going to connect all of your audio into one. And you have to do this, unfortunately, on a Mac. On a PC, all you have to do is select your audio source. I've had a couple of people come back to me having trouble setting up the aggregate device, so right here are the screenshots of how I have it set up. I've been able to share this directly with a couple of people on Twitter who were having problems, and then they were able to fix them. The next thing we want to do is add Zoom to our laptop if you don't already have it. It's pretty simple. I just do a search for Zoom in Google, then I go and I download it. The install is really straightforward even on a Mac because it is a signed application, so you just have to double click it and it installs. Really simple. It's going to ask you for permissions to add your camera and all that stuff. You've probably been through this how I have it set up. So just go ahead and I've been able to share this directly. Now we're going to get to the most exciting part. We're going to build our scene, add our guests, and get ready to go live. Okay, I'm going to do something different than I normally do in these videos. I'm just going to add a background. I'm going to show you that you don't need to use an overlay to create a scene like this. So I downloaded a background off the internet. Now I'm just going to click the little plus
shots
sign.
of how I have it
I'm
set
going to
up.
click image.
I've been able to share
I'm
this
going to
directly
go
with a
and
couple of
find
people on
that
Twitter
image.
who are having
Then I'm going
problems.
to click OK.
And then they were
you can
able
see
to
it's
fix
this little
them.
background.
But the next thing we want to do is
can
have a
also
problem
see
our laptop if you
this
don't
image
already
is
have to share
1920
this
by
directly. Now we're
1080.
going to get to the
And
most
that's for a good
exciting
reason.
problems. We're going
I
to
want to
build
make
our
sure my
scene, add our
background
guests,
image is
and get
the
ready
same
to go
size as my
live.
canvas. Okay, I'm going to do something
The next
different
thing
than I
we want to do
normally
is
do
add
in
zoom
those
to our
videos.
laptop.
I'm just going to
we
have
don't
background
already
in
have
there.
it.
I'm going to show you that you go over to
use
Zoom
overlay,
and I'm going to click this little drop down where it says download the background. I'm going to go down to the background. I'm just going to click on that plus sign.
I have it set up.
I've been able to
now I
share
can
this
take
this
invitation
invitation
on
Twitter.
ask you for
Whenever
permission.
I want.
And they were
Now I
able
want
to
to
let
join
stuff.
background.
But the next thing we want to
you
do
can
is
also
I
see
have
it.
so just go ahead
This
and
image
able to
is
share the
19
share. Now we're
by
going to
1080.
get the
And that's for a good reason.
We're going to
I
build our
want to make sure the
test
background
and
image
ready to
is
go
ready to go.
live.
Okay, I'm going to do something different.
Next thing I want to do is add
I'm just going to have a background. I'm going to show you that you don't need to overlay. And I'm going to click this little drop down. Download the background. I'm going to go down to now. I'm just going to
I've been able to share now you can take this invitation. Now I'm going to ask you for permission. Now I want that. Next thing you can also I've been able to share this. Now we're going to get to the most exciting part. We're going to build our scene, add our guests, and get ready to go live.
Okay, I'm going to do something different than I normally do in these videos. I'm just going to do background. I'm going to show you that you don't I'm going to click this like
share this year. Now we're going to get to the most exciting part. We're going to build our scene, add our guests, and get ready to go live.
Okay, I'm going to do something different than I normally do in these videos. I'm just going to do I'm going to show you that you Michael T. Panetta. I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and slide over the edges until I have the exact kind of box that I want for Michael T. Once I have the box that I want, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move it into place and I can resize just that box. And I'm going to go ahead and click the plus again. Go to Window Capture. I'm going to select that Zoom meeting once again and click OK. This creates a duplicate. Now I'm going to do the same thing by holding the Alt key and I'm going to crop Monica's box. And you can see that looks alright. But let's resize this stuff. We'll move it around. We'll get it looking all pretty. And now I'm going to just add a little bit of text to this. And it's pretty simple. I click the plus, I select the text tool, and I put in the name of the person I'm adding. Then I add their name in the box. I'm going to change the font here. We're going to change it to Go Bold. Then I'm going to resize it and move it down below the person's box. I'm going to do the same thing for Monica. And I'm going to do the same thing for myself. And there you go. You have the makings of a pretty nice looking little scene. Now, window capture is definitely the way to go if you only have one monitor. But it definitely will cause problems on your stream. You're going to see occasional glitching with the other folks' images. And this is just something that happens, especially on a Mac, in a window share. So what we're going to do to avoid that is this time I'm going to just do a display capture. So I'm going to capture my second monitor. Now you're going to notice that everyone's image is a little bit darker. And that's because when I'm doing a screen record, it darkens all the other screens that I have connected to my computer. And since I put this on a different display, that display is darkened, so it shows darkened on here. But I'll show you in a moment exactly what it really looks like. You can see Jay was added to this call as well. So what I'm going to do is use the same technique. I'm going to Alt left click and drag to make the boxes the shape that I want. Then I can resize those boxes. Then I go in. I use display capture once again. I select the display capture I've already created, and then I just create a box for each person using the Alt left click and drag to crop them properly. And then once I crop them, I resize them to the shape that I want, and I can just move them around. Then I'm reorganizing everything. I'm getting people squared up to where I want to be, and you can see This is the makings of a pretty nice looking scene here. Next, I'm going to add some audio. So I go and I click the plus button. I go to create new, and we're going to call this one guests. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to drop down and select the I Show You audio capture device, which we created at the very beginning. Now I have to go up here into my sound settings, and I'm going to select the I Show You device, and there you see it is working. If I want to hear it through my headphones, then I go up and I select the little volume key again, and I'm going to select the multi-output or the aggregate device that we talked about creating earlier as well, and that way I can hear everyone in my headpiece. Then I just have to go and add audio for myself, and we're all set. And here's what this would look like on stream. You can see that everyone is just as bright as they're supposed to be. It's only because I'm doing a screen record that it darkens out when I'm showing this. But man, the image quality when you use Zoom is really fantastic. If I were to set up a scene like this, I'd probably put a chat box or something over on the right hand side that would stream along with it, or you could put a widget or advertisements or whatever you want. Now, a couple of words of advice. You want to make sure that you have all the guests who are going to be in your live broadcast in Zoom before you start cropping everybody up. Because if you don't, it will move the windows around and totally mess up the crop. So just be aware of that. You should also be aware that as a free user of Zoom, you only get about 45 minutes free at a time. Then you either have to stop and reconnect or try another day. I'm not exactly sure what their trial is, but it's not forever for free. So that's just something to be aware of. If you're looking for ways to grow your audience through live streaming, you should check this video out right here. And if you want more information on different ways that you can add guests to your live stream, you should check this playlist out right here. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Fire Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Zoom, OBS, and people in their separate homes, not in the same place, to live stream and make it all work together. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. This is your first time stopping by the channel. Thanks for stopping by, and on this channel we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So I got this idea from my brother-in-law, who's actually been using this method to help at their church, to where they have their pastor who is staying at home, but some of the praise team, around 3 people, are still at the church and they're doing live music, and they wanted to have a way to integrate all this together, as well as he's done this in having just his YouTube channel where he's talking with multiple people who are at home, but they want to be able to live stream. And this is a really clever way of how he did this, and I want to kind of show it to you here. So let's go ahead and cut over to the computer. Alright, so I'm here on Zoom. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and start. I have a webcam set up here. Let me slide that over. And let's just go ahead and start a meeting. And I'm going to try and start a private one here. And I'm going to join using the audio and all that other fun stuff. So let's come over here. Now I'm going to start my video. Alright. So we got everything, and I want to make sure I'm coming from my webcam and all this. Now, I don't have another webcam to set this up unless I do this on my phone. Yeah, let's try and do this on my phone. All right, so right now we have 2 people, and let me use this little stand here so I can hold this up. Now, this is a really cool thing. Now, what you're going to be doing is actually having a Zoom call, but then we're going to capture different aspects of this meeting and broadcast it to OBS. All right, so we got this up. Now I'm gonna move this over here to my other screen, and I got a fresh copy of OBS here that has absolutely nothing on it because I was having some NDI issues. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do let's make it all nice. All right, so let's make this first thing. Let's add a background here, and I'm just gonna do an image and just be background. So we're gonna do our window capture here, and we'll call it Zoom Person 1, something real simple. All right, so we change our capture method so that we can get what we need to here, and you can see, boom, we're capturing the entire window of Zoom. All right, so let's OK out of this, and what we're gonna do is let's duplicate this here, copy, and we're gonna duplicate it, and they got the naming almost close to what we wanted. We're gonna change this to person 2. All right, so let's hide number 1, and we're just gonna do number 2. Now what we're gonna do is manipulate this, hold down Alt, and then let's click on one of these buttons, and we're gonna cut out everything except for person number 2 here. And I'm holding down Alt the entire time while I'm doing this. And boom, this is the only thing now you can see. Now I can place this here, and you see I already have a name tag, so let's go ahead and cut that out, and then we can do our own name tag if we want to. And let's cut out the kitchen here. I don't want you to see that. And you can format these windows any way you want to. All right, so boom, there we go. Now let's bring up person number 1, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. And move this all over here. Boom. 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 All right, so now, and then you can come in here, now that we've cropped it, we can come and resize this any way we want to. You know, something like that. So it makes it look like you have 2 different things. So now what's happening is a Zoom call is going on, we are capturing the window and we're formatting it and putting it inside of OBS. Now the idea is, say that your pastor is staying at home, you can have him or her sitting at the table in a Zoom call. Let that call, you have somebody else in the media, if somebody's at church, or if somebody else is at home with a more powerful computer that can live stream and handle both. They have a Zoom meeting set up. You set this video up like this to where you can capture different windows and have, like, say he's doing they're doing Bible study or something like that, or you have somebody else, or say you have like me and I'm playing on the piano and I'm playing music that you won't get a strike for, like on the keyboard. So you can cut over here, and then they're interacting with each other because the Zoom is going to have a better connection with them. And then now you are capturing this in OBS, and now OBS can live stream that Zoom call after it's been cleaned up in the way, make it look all nice and neat and all this other stuff with your different scenes and everything like that any way you want to. And then now you can broadcast anywhere, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you want. Really simple. All you're doing is running a Zoom call in the background between a select few amount of people, then window capturing certain aspects of your Zoom call to get everything else out of the scene. So like, for example, I can come in here and do this, and let's add something else in here that I really was not prepared to do, but we're gonna try it anyway. So say we're doing this and we want to bring in some scripture. So what I can do now is, while this is going on, you can actually do the exact same thing. Like I have, let's say I could duplicate this whole scene here, and whoever is running this, that's getting rebroadcast to Facebook or whatever platform that you want, what we're going to do is say person 1. We're going to let that be active, and then say we're going to do a display capture of Worship Extreme where I'm having scripture or something like that in the background. And obviously I got all this crazy stuff going on because I'm on that screen. So as you can see, just imagine I'm having this, somebody could be talking, and now you have scripture being superimposed over top while they're talking. So you can still have scripture being brought in. So it's just like what the ATEM could do that you would do live, but all of this is powered by a Zoom call, and then you're running that into OBS, and then you can rebroadcast it, add whatever stuff you want to, so you can still do your countdown timers, your intros, your lyrics, your announcements, everything. But whoever is going to be mainly focused on your live stream, if they can't be in the church, they can have a Zoom call, and then OBS is capturing that. So I hope that made sense. Again, really simple, and all we're talking about is really manipulating a lot of these programs and letting them work on top of each other. So I hope that gave you some ideas, because I know I had a bunch of people wondering how in the world could somebody be at their house, but then somebody else in the media ministry is at their house that has access to everything, and how they could live stream them two talking and then still go out to their church. So hopefully that gave you an idea. So let's run over it one more time. All the people that you want to be, say me and my pastor, we have a Zoom call. He has a webcam, I have a webcam. I capture that. I window capture Zoom, crop out everything else, and say we have 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, whatever that you want. You can crop out each individual person on a given scene or separate scenes in OBS. And then OBS is now live streaming to your platform of choice. So Zoom is sitting under everything, and they're acting like your cameras if you are physically in the church, but it's being used through OBS. A nice little sleight of hand. And again, I want to thank my brother-in-law for that. That was a really cool idea that he's been using. And thanks again. So if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. This is AJ. We'll see you on the next video. Later. In this video, we're going to go through all the steps you need to install and configure OBS to live stream your services. In our previous videos, we talking about the importance of live streaming and how beneficial it is for your church. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to go through the very beginning, the 101 of actually setting up OBS. There are multiple other programs that you can use to live stream, but me personally, I use OBS at my home church as well as the other churches I've helped consult with. So I'm just going to walk through that and give you some of my actually show you how to implement a lot of the pro live streaming tips that I had in the previous video that I had right here. But let's go ahead and just walk through it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, you can do this on a Mac or a PC or Linux. Me personally, I prefer Windows just because it makes it easier, and I discuss that later on why to do that. But let's go ahead and go over to obsproject.com. So we're over here, and I am going to pick out the version of software that I'm going to use, and that is going to be Windows. Here it's going to go ahead and download. Let that finish. Alright, so let's go ahead and just click on that to open it up. Let me click yes. And let me get rid of this so you can actually see the install. So we're going to go ahead and click on next. Agree. Most of this stuff you don't really even have to change. Just to install. Pretty straightforward. Alright, so I'm going to uncheck Launch OBS Studio for right now. Let's go ahead and click Finish. Alright, so we have OBS here now, so let's go ahead and double click on that. and your license and agreements and all that good stuff. Go ahead and click OK. Alright, and it's going to say, do you want to run auto configuration? No for right now. Yep, and if you change your mind, you can run it again. Exactly. Alright, so here's your main interface. Let's go ahead and drag this up. This is your window. The first thing I would say, go ahead and click on studio mode over here. And how this is going to be set up is you have your screen over here is going to be your program. That's actually what people are going to see. This screen is going to be a preview. This is, especially for beginners, this is a good way to configure this because this screen will show you what's going to go to next. So this is what's live, this is what's next, all right? So here, this is your scenes window where you can have multiple scenes and you have sources. You can have multiple sources inside of a scene, and we're going to go through that. Now the first thing I want you to do is we're going to go to settings, and a lot of this stuff you don't have to change right now. You can change your theme. I have mine as dark default, makes it light, and I'll switch back to that just for right now, makes it easier to see. And I hit apply. Now your stream, we're going to come in here, and whenever you have your streaming service, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, whichever one, this is where you would configure that. You would get your stream key that we've talked about before. That's what will go here, and that's authenticates you when you're connecting to whatever given service. You can click on show all services to show all the ones that are pre-configured. But if you happen to be doing something completely different and it's not listed, you can always go to custom and put your own connections in there. And if you're at this screen, you would know, you would have all the information to do this. All right. Your output, these are some settings that you might want to play with, but this is your bit rate. And again, what I've noticed in here, I won't go into advanced, I'll keep it on simple, but what we're going to do is that configuration that we had an option to do. I'm going to come back and do that because they will find the best coding for these settings based on your internet connection. So we'll come back to this. But the main thing is you might want to come in here and change your location of your drives, of where if you decide to use OBS to record as a backup, which we do sometimes in church just in case, you might want to switch the path of where it's being recorded to. Now me personally, I will move this to a path here on my E drive. Your recording quality, same as your stream, I keep it to that. I don't use this format. I use either MOV or MP4. So I'm just going to say MOV for right now. Audio. You normally don't need to play with this, but seeing how I use a different video editor, I have mine at 48 kilohertz. And it says I need to restart for that to take place, and that's fine. So again, a lot of the stuff you don't really have to touch. This is only if you know what you're doing from here. And again, our video editing software expects all audio to be in 48 kilohertz. That's the only reason why I'm changing that. If we weren't using that, I wouldn't even touch this. Video, this is where you change what resolution is going to be shown when you're live streaming. My desktop right now is at 1920 by 1080, but it's saying that it's going to live stream at 720. So you can always come in here and change this. You can type in whatever ones that you want. You probably don't want to go any higher than what the computer's saying you can. So me personally, I say our church service, we want to do 1080. So I'll just pick that. So that's going to be what is going out, your output. Now your frames per second, that's how many images are being drawn per second. TV is normally under 30. If you're doing video games or something like that, the higher is better, 60. But honestly, for a church service, unless you got a lot of motion, I'm talking about like sports level type motion, you really don't need to go higher than 60. But you can if you want to. So, but for right now, I will just say we're going to do 1080p at 60 frames a second. Hotkeys, this is where you can come in and make set custom key codes to be able to do certain things. And I don't know if you saw my tour of my church. What I actually do is use the Stream Deck Mini to do this instead. But this is an option that you can have this built in. So you can say when somebody hits Control 1 or Control 2, it will start recording or something like that. That's at your discretion to set up. And advanced, honestly, you really don't even need to touch this. So let me go ahead and restart this because that change that I made. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start laying out some of the essentials that I mentioned in the Pro live streaming tips for your church. Alright, so let's go over here to our browser here to a tool that I've mentioned before. We're going to go to canva.com, and I've actually already done these, but I'm going to make certain scenes like I said before, and actually just go ahead and just make them all over again. So I'm going to set I picked desktop wallpaper because it's in the same resolution that we're going to stream at. It just makes it easier at 1920 by 1080. So I'm just going to pick that. And what I'm going to call this is pre-service, just to make the names easier, so when you're looking this up or coming back behind later on, you'll know. Alright, so what we're going to do is just set up an image, and this is going to be meant for people to see when your live stream is getting ready to start. So we can pick whatever template over here that we want. I will pick this one just because it's easy. Now I'll just say welcome, and then I'll say I use my typical name here, Prototype Church. And if you needed some pictures, if you don't like this one, I like using pexels.com. Give free copyright free photos that you can use, and I would just say let's pick a sunrise. Let's pick this one. Now let's simply download that, come in here, drag it in here, let that upload, and you can make this as complicated as you want, but I'm just trying to make it really simple and straightforward. So let's drag this over here, and this will be our intro, and I'll just put one more tag under here. Live stream starts at 9 a.m. You can't see it because of the font color, so let's go ahead and change that, make it a little bit bigger, and put it right there. Alright, so there's our first one. So let's go ahead and download that. Now, what we're also going to do is let's make a copy of this. And we're going to call this Be Right Back. Now you can add whatever text that you want to give more explanation. Like I could say something like, you might want to call this out to your viewers. Just say, hey, we're in a moment to where I don't know how you would word this. Like you might want to even list it as copyright material being played. Stream will resume shortly. I'll just say, actually, let's do that. Stream will resume shortly. And then at this one, we don't need the live stream thing right there. So we'll just do this. So that's to Be Right Back. Let's go ahead and download that one. Now let's go back to Pexels and let's see if we can find something for an offering scene. So we'll say offering. And I'm actually going to use this one because this is the exact same one that I've used at my church before. So let's make another copy of this one. And we'll use the same theme just to make it easier, but again, just realize you can change the theme to any type of way you want to. So let's drag this picture over, and in here what we'll say is give online giving online. All right, and then let's put in the address to the I'm going to include the address to how you can give online. So something like that. Something that makes it stand out so people can see where they can do this at. So let's actually increase the size of this so it's a little bit more prominent. Ungroup this so that I can make it bigger. Alright, we'll call this giving. Let's download this one. And we only got one more to make. One more. We're going to make a thank you. Alright, so another resource that I like is CMG Create. These guys are awesome out there. They make free type templates and backgrounds that you can download for some of the other videos I talk about, Worship Extreme and presentation software, but they also make titles in here. So see, thanks for joining us and things like that. So you easily could have came over here and the same stuff we just made, you could have just downloaded one from here, but I like always having multiple options. So I'm going to pick this one and I'm just going to download it. And as you can see, it's already in the same resolution that we already have. So I have everything that we need right now. Alright, so we're back here. Now what we're going to do is make multiple scenes for the exact same stuff we just made. So we have a pre-service scene. And actually, let me go back. Let me do it this way. So we have our pre-service scene. Let's go ahead and click the plus under sources. And we're going to select an image. And we can call this, you don't want to give it the same name. So I'm just going to leave it as, we don't want to call our, we can't call our source and our scene the exact same name. So we're going to say pre-service image. All right, and let's navigate out to where we had our images. So pre-service. Click that and open. Boom. There we go. Now one thing I'm going to do is I have my webcam hooked up to this, and this will simulate the camera that you're having connected, whether it be a capture card or something like that. So let's go ahead and do a capture device. And there's my camera right there, my webcam. That's going to simulate what we're talking about. Alright, so this is going to be my picture. Now, how OBS works, it works in layers. So what's going to happen is, as we see in here, we have our video on the top layer, then we have our service on the bottom layer. As you can see, the mic is moving on here. That means that it's registering the audio that's coming off of here, which will be the same way with your capture card. But again, your video capture device is on layer 1 and your image is on layer 2. So what we want to do is, because you can still hear, we want to put the image on top so they won't see what's going on right now. So as you can see, this is what's going on. Let's move this layer up. So what's happening now is they're only seeing the image, but they can hear everything. So this is a good example of pre-service where you have uncopyrighted music being played or people talking. People can hear this when they go into their live stream, so it's just not going to be dead silence. All right. Now you can always add a media source in here and actually play music if you wanted to. So like I can come in here and say pre-service music, and I would pick whatever file I wanted. Now I'm gonna make it loop so it'll keep going over and over again. So I'll just say like this song, because now we have 3 layers. Now we have our pre-service music is on top, but again, it's just music, so it's nothing